We are so excited to talk about High Point with you and get some amazing perspectives from some of our favorite designers and an amazing vendor that we work with all the time. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys want to drop where you're joining from in the chat, we would love to hear from all of you. If you do have any specific questions for our panelists, you can submit those in the Q&A section, and we will try to get to those after we go through what we've got to talk about today. All right, since we're jumping off a little after time, let's just go ahead and I will let you guys all introduce yourselves. Just a little, your names, where you are, what you do would be great. Melissa, we can start with you.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I am Melissa Fields. I am an interior designer out of San Antonio, Texas, y'all. So you probably hear me say y'all a lot. I can't help it. It's just in my DNA. But no, I do primarily residential interior design. And yeah, I'm just excited to be a part of this amazing panel. Yay. That's it.
John, we can go to John.
I'm like, that's all I got. That's all I got.
Right. That's all you needed. It was good.
Good. Yay. Short and sweet.
Right. That's right. I'm John Adcox. My wife, Catherine, and I own Source, which is based in High Point. So we're a multi-line trade showroom and online sourcing platform for interior designers. So Mydoma users and other designers all over the country use us to source from about 150 trade-only wholesale vendors all in one place and all in one order and one invoice. And we simplify logistics and do kind of all the back end work for you. So I think we're here to sort of be the vendor perspective on this call today as somebody who shows in High Point versus somebody who just goes to High Point.
You want me to jump in?
Go ahead.
I am Jessica Deuce, and I own J Deuce Design and co-owner of Vacation Rental Designers. And I think I've been a Mydoma user since the very beginning. So I love that. And I know John, and I got to get to know Melissa because I'm in Texas, Houston. So,
Y'all.
Y'all, so she gets it. Yes.
I get it. It works.
We're big fans of y'all here in North Carolina too. So
okay, good.
We're all y'all fans.
I love it.
Lots of Southern charm on this call today.
That's right.
Love that.
I love it.
Okay, and for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm the community manager at Mydoma. My name is Lauren Scully. Good to see all of you. All right, let's get started with, first I want to touch on how many times and how many years have you guys all attended High Point? Melissa.
I'm probably the baby of the group. So this past market was my second one. So I was a High Point virgin until last fall. And so October was my first time. This is my second time. So yes. Awesome. And then I'll be attending again in the fall again. So I think I have a problem. It's now an addiction.
So fun. Jessica, how about you?
I've been going for at least 6 years. I have not missed a market, including COVID. Since then, spring and fall, I go off market. So I sound like a stalker at this point. John knows I'm there throughout the year, and I do an insider tour, and we just had a vacation rental design summit as part of High Point. So High Point Market. So I'm a fan.
And it's always fun because Jess will just come popping in the door and we didn't even know she was in town. And she's like, hey y'all, I'm here.
I always have my drinks ready.
That's right. That's right. We know how to do it. We've been going to High Point Market for probably 10 years or so. And keep in mind too, I'm from Greensboro, grew up in Greensboro. So like High Point Market is a thing you grow up with if you're anywhere local here because it's such a big deal. So, have gone to markets before we were ever even in the industry, but we've been going to market probably for about 10 years because keep in mind, we're both a buyer and a seller. So we're kind of this weird hybrid thing where we go and buy from people who show there, but we also have a showroom now also. So we've been in the space we're in now for a little over 3 years and are actually right in the middle of a move. So we'll be in a location, bigger spot next market. it's chaos. A move is never fun, but it's underway. So
It'll
y'all
be
said
worth it.
Very
for us.
cool.
Think it through.
Awesome. Okay, so since the Vacation Rentals Summit preceded actual markets this year, Jessica, do you want to give us just a few highlights of what made that such a success? Because I've heard so much about everyone who enjoyed themselves and just learned so much, and I just think it was a huge success. So what contributed to that?
Thank you. It's my baby, so I'm so excited. I just saw a comment here from Alice. It was huge, so thank you. It's was a pitch that rolled into a full-blown market. It was a collaborative effort of HPXD, which encourages designers to come to High Point year-round, as well as High Point Market Authority. And we had originally planned on 150 people. We ended at 246. And sold out crowd, brands, and it was to bring the education and awareness for brands and designers about the category of vacation rental design. And part of what we do in vacation rental design is offer our guests an experience when they check into lodging. So we wanted the summit to also feel like an experience, and we've had great feedback by vendors, brands, and guests, or attendees. Hopefully we're in talks of making it annual. So does that help?
That's very exciting. Yeah, no, that's great. Awesome. Okay, so let's move into some events, because we know that High Point is about a lot of things, but a lot of the fun is had at a lot of the different events. Let's start with Melissa. What event did you enjoy the most?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard to narrow it down. It was crazy. Gosh, I guess I should have had time to think about this a little bit. It was so many. I mean, obviously I attended the Mydoma, panels, the one on the rendering with Jenna, and Luann Nigera, moderated that. That was really cool because of, the whole Mydoma visualizer and just all of the fantastic ways to use that in our businesses. That was really good. I'm trying to think, because there was so much. I feel like it was a whirlwind. I loved John's event, the private label collection. That was super cool because I really want to dive into that a lot more. It was very informative, very exciting to to discuss the whole thing about, clients shopping us and, and having a way to not be able to, to allow that as often, right. And to kind of have your own thing and partnering with Source. So I feel like I'm not trying to be biased, but a lot of the Mydoma events were pretty amazing. So
we love to hear that.
I really, no one, Sarah did not pay me to say that. I'm just saying, like, it was very informative, and I would say that those are probably one of the most favorite events. I would say the other thing, it wasn't really an event, but we had a little bit of a mixer at the Point. Friday evening for the Kaleidoscope project designers. And so that was kind of fun to be there. There, some of our sponsors were there to support us. I don't know if many people know about that. We're going to be, helping out with the renovation of that, the Aiden Hotel project that is going to be right there, that old Red Lion Inn in downtown High Point that's been vacant, I guess, for a while. And so they're going to be renovating that. Phillips Collection just moved into the first floor, and they have their new showroom there as well. So that was pretty cool to kind of hang out with the sponsors and the other designers and kind of chat about the project. So it was just, I really can't narrow it down. It was just hard. I loved everything. It's just so informative. So yeah, I could go on and on, but yeah, that's
very
kind of
cool.
My thing. It was exciting.
Yeah. Jessica, other than your lovely summit, what were some event highlights for you?
Melissa, I want to tell you the Kaleidoscope project is phenomenal. I'm so happy for you. I just want to share that.
Thank you.
It's going to be wonderful and such a gift to High Point. So we had Jenna speak at the summit. And so thank you for bringing that up, because that was actually a big moment for a lot of people in the audience. And I also am saying this from the heart. she's sharing the tools with the visualizer. That's a big deal for people in this vacation rental design because we do so much remote. So that was a big deal. I really enjoyed the keynote. We took our tour there, and that was Joanna Gaines, and I just went blank.
Amber Lewis, I think, right? I missed it. It was on the schedule, but
Yep.
It was just
it was the Chris Loves Julia, a couple that does a lot of celebrity designing, and then I believe it was the Business of Home editor interviewing them. I can't remember now, but anyway, that was a great keynote. So many good events. I went to some educational ones about growing your business, and Melissa Galt did one. I thought those were great. The amount, you just can't squeeze in all of the educational opportunities. And then Dougie Fresh Saturday night, like who knew? Who knew?
I was looking forward to En Vogue because I grew up with that, and I remember Dougie Fresh too. But when I found out En Vogue wasn't there, my heart was broken. I'm like, wait, what? But
The office was all so sad when they made that announcement too.
Yes, I was like, come on. So,
but he killed it.
Oh, it was
Very
good.
cool.
Yeah.
And you probably get to get, but you get to open anything for your showroom this year.
Yeah, sadly, when you show at High Point, you don't get to go at High Point. I mean, we made the rounds. I mean, Hooker has a huge new showroom. They had a big party on Saturday night that was sort of
nice.
at the same time as the concert. So that was fun. They had a great band. I mean, I think the big takeaway here is that like market as a whole, as it has shifted to be more and more designer heavy and designer friendly, it's insane the amount of events and educational panels. And I mean, that stuff didn't used to happen like it does now. And now the schedule is so packed and there's so many options. Like if I heard several times from people, designers specifically this market, who said like they were stressed out because they feel like they couldn't do the actual like shopping and buying and because they'd way overcommitted on all the panels, trying to get to everything because you don't want to miss anything. And there's so much great content now that I think it's starting to like, it's a thing that people are having to try to pick and choose and deal with. So no shortage of fun, which is also nice to see that we're back to a normal like post-COVID market where people can have events and can have parties. And I think that has like introduced the designers who are here are excited about that, about being able to do that again and see people and connect and network and, you know, it's a fun scene for sure.
Yeah. So in that same kind of vein, John specifically, what did you feel like the traffic was like this market, maybe versus the fall or, you know, past? Like I know, you know, we're getting back to normal numbers, you know, post-COVID and everything, but what do you think, how does spring compare to fall?
So for us, I mean, I think that officially, I haven't seen the actual numbers, but I've heard rumor that it was sort of like attendance-wise was on par with fall, this market was.
Okay.
For us, and our perspective is a little weird too, because we're not in one of the big buildings. So we're downtown in a freestanding building. So weather's a factor for us. So like Saturday, the weather was terrible and it was windy and rainy. And like, so we had appointments all day, but like there was no walk by traffic. So, you know, stuff like that makes it feel a little slower, but I also have this weird little solo perspective where I'm trapped down here. And my guess is that on Saturdays when we're slow because of the weather, people wisely like spent their time in the big buildings where they didn't have to be out in the elements. So it was probably jam packed. I just don't know because I wasn't there. But yeah, I mean, it felt good. Everybody seemed like they were in a good mood. Great market for us. And yeah, so I think it was good.
Good. That's awesome. Very cool. So another question for you, John. When you're thinking about what designers were looking for this market, has anything kind of changed? Like what like products specifically, are you seeing any like specific trends, you know, with fabrics? Obviously you work a lot with upholstery. What are you seeing in that realm?
So I think what I have seen a lot of, and this is no doubt like a post-COVID thing, there's
Mhm.
been a big shift in interest from designers on American made product. And I think it kind of started out of necessity during COVID when everything was stuck on a slow boat from somewhere, but we couldn't get anything. So designers had to like kind of retool the business and figure out like, what can I get now? What's available locally? A lot of people went to vintage and antique. I mean, you had to get what you could get at that time.
Mhm.
But I think what's happened as a result is people have sort of like re-fallen in love with a quality American made product, which is great for everybody. You know, I mean, that's
Yeah.
such a good thing for our industry. So I think there's a lot of that, which, you know, upholstery wise, but case good wise, there's a lot of American made product, and I think people are enjoying it. So a lot of that. Fabric wise, I mean, performance fabrics still rule the day in terms of upholstery. And there's so many more offerings than there used to be. So that's obviously a surging market. We still get a lot of interest in texture. So like bouclés and, you know, things that are still relatively neutral, but maybe warmer tones, but with some texture. So, and that's, you know, from an upholstery standpoint. So we're talking sofas, where people tend to go more neutral usually. In the little bit of getting around that we did do, we saw fabric wise and color wise a lot of purple happening. So like eggplants, not bright purples, but like warm, deep purples, like eggplant kind of colors. I thought was kind of interesting. More color in general. Did y'all see that too? Because y'all could speak to that better than I could. But
Absolutely.
you know, I think it's, you know, there's still obviously plenty of neutral, and a lot of what we sell is neutral in upholstery. But I think people are embracing color a little bit more again. So that's a good thing.
That's awesome. As far as, you know, custom versus stock stuff, what are you seeing there? You know, are more and more people becoming, you know, more comfortable with, you know, custom products, or do you think people are really looking for that kind of ready-made situation?
I think it's a mix. You know, I mean, a lot of designers that we're working with, it's project based. So there's usually enough time to do something custom if that's what they want and that's what the client wants, because they've got they've got time to get that done on a new build or on a renovation or on a, you know, full home redecoration. Good news though is that lead times, I think, seem to be down across the board, you know, for custom work. So you know, I think for the most part, gone are the days of the like 45-week lead times. So people are catching up, which is good. I think in-stock stuff has surged. So, you know, as people finally got everything they were waiting on overseas and the market has slowed, demand has slowed a little bit. There's a lot of inventory out there. So there's plenty of product available. So yeah, it's just a whole different discussion than what we were having last market, and certainly the market before, where people couldn't get product for their floor, you know, to show because everything was stuck overseas. And so there were lots of weird like apologies being made, like, sorry, we had these great plans for this market, but we couldn't get the product. And so we saw a lot of new introductions, things that have arrived and are on display now in the showrooms we got around. So I think it feels like things are normalizing a little bit from a supply chain, you know. Not without, not perfect yet, but it feels like it's getting a little better.
Well, thank goodness for that. It's about time. Okay. So ladies, from designer perspectives, we've got some images to sort of back up your trends that you're sort of foreseeing. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up, and then we will start with Melissa and we can talk about the trends that you were really seeing. Okay, do that. All right, can you guys see that?
Yes.
All right, Melissa.
Okay, so again, there were so many different things, you know, so many trends that I saw. I could not get to every single showroom that I wanted to get to. It's just, there's just so much, right? It's kind of like John was talking about, you know, not even just with the educational events, but just the showrooms and things that you want to see. It's so jam-packed with everything that you just really have to pick and choose, you know, and prioritize kind of what you want to see. One of the things that I saw, and I saw this last market as well, the sexy curves are still very much going strong, right? Like the curves in the furniture, in the sofas, the movement. I mean, even in the tables, if you look at the tables, I mean, they're not the traditional, rectangular square shaped legs for the tables, but now we're using, spheres, we're using circles, we're using, we're just, I was seeing a lot of just movement, curvature to the furniture, and it just seemed to be almost everywhere you went, right? I really love the clean lines. I love linear and things like that, but I love to see the different pieces that actually have some shape to them, right? To kind of soften some of those, the linearness, if you will, in some of the designs, right? But yeah, I loved it. I loved seeing that, and I saw that in a lot of pieces as I was going through some of the showrooms, for sure. Acrylic, that again, there's some pieces where they're completely acrylic. But then I loved seeing this piece was in Universal. This was part of Miranda Kerr's, I believe, her Tranquility collection. The acrylic legs, Bernhardt had, I didn't have any photos of that, but Bernhardt had some of them, the acrylic backs, right, to some of their swivel chairs or their accent chair pieces. Just love the look, saw a lot of that. I really like using acrylic when I can, just because there's not a lot of visual weight to the acrylic, right? So when you have a space and you want it to feel, a lot more spacious, more airy, you can't go wrong with using acrylic, because again, it doesn't take up a lot of that visual space. So loved seeing that. And a lot of the natural, the organic pieces, right? I know we talked a lot about that, especially, during COVID, and then kind of coming, I don't want to say we're completely out of it, but kind of coming out of where a lot of people were working from home, right? A lot of people wanted the biophilic design, right? They wanted to feel, have that connection with the outdoors and nature. And so we saw a lot of organic furniture pieces, a lot of the neutral colors, a lot of the linen fabric, a lot of just things that make us feel like we're connected to the outdoors. And so I still saw a lot of that. I don't know if you guys have my picture, like even in the Phillips collection showroom, a lot of wood, a lot of live edge still that you're seeing. A lot of the chairs and the sofas, and just the wicker, the cane, the rattan, all of those types of materials. I just don't foresee that going away anytime soon. I think there's still that desire for that in people's homes. Yeah, and I think that was just that, other pieces that I saw
more. Yep.
And alder and tweed. Yeah, just that mix of the wood and those types of materials. Hair on hide. I really love that. Again, it's not like it's anything really new, but I just feel like I saw that in a lot of the showrooms that I was able to visit. The texture, John talked about texture, people wanting texture, right? So if you want, a change up from your regular kind of like the smooth, soft types of leathers and things like that, right? If you go custom on your furniture, for those people who want still that leather feel or that leather texture, we can add the hair on hide to that, and it just adds that different little wow factor to the piece. So seeing that in ottomans, seeing that in chairs, just seeing a mix of that, even in pillows and throw pillows. I know people are using the hair on hide, so I really loved seeing that, and I did see that in quite a few showrooms.
Yeah, I love that look.
And then this, I really love that, just that channeled style furniture. A couple of those pieces were in Universal, and then one I think was in alder and tweed. I just love that look. It's just kind of, I feel like it's more of a modern take on the traditional kind of tufting, that we see in furniture, but very sleek. And just, you see it in the headboards, right? You'll see it in some of the beds. A lot of times you'll see it in the chairs. You'll see it in some of the benches as well. And so I really saw kind of that theme across the board in a lot of the showrooms that I was able to visit as well.
Yeah. I love channel furniture. It honestly is just like you said, it's just a nice update to tufting.
It is. It's great. I love it. I'm really drawn to it.
Yeah.
So it's good to see
Yeah.
it. Yeah, for sure.
All right, Jessica.
I know I didn't send you a lot of great pictures. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. We kind of already touched on the summit. But if there's anything that you want to add, highlight your favorite speakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually Universal Furniture on the stage. And to Melissa's point, the caning and the natural materials, it's a concrete table and, the woven cane chairs. And that's actually all outdoor furniture. But I'm not going to lie, some of that furniture might be at my house now.
Okay.
We have those chairs at our beach house.
Yeah, it's great stuff. It's great.
Yeah,
and that you found that all over Market. So
beautiful.
Very cool.
Beautiful.
Kind of the same theme here.
Yeah, I was thinking about this as Melissa was talking. You can go to Market, and if you told somebody, okay, I want you to source traditional purple things, and they could come back and go, I saw a lot of purple and traditional at Market or like the more clean line and the channeled chairs, because you literally can find everything. Yes. At Market, depending on what your style is. So if you're a traditional designer, a contemporary designer, what you're looking for, you're going to feel like that's what you saw a lot of too, because your eye goes right to it. But I saw a lot of connections to KBiz with Market, like the channeling in those chairs. At KBiz, we joked that, if it wasn't moving, it was reeded. It was reed lines.
That's true. I saw that there too. Yeah.
We saw that at High Point in furniture and upholstery. And to John's point, what I saw a lot of is now that people are more interested in the sustainability conversation and what we can get American made and how fast, I saw a lot more fabric education, fabric products, because now that people are sourcing more locally or repurposing, I saw an explosion in fabric opportunities that were performance, but print, now it's not just solid performance fabric, it's every color and texture combination, which is also performance.
Yep.
I just love this. Okay, plaid was totally having a moment. Plaid was all over the place, which I personally love plaid. And a lot of whimsy. I appreciated that there was a little more whimsy coming back, kind of like the art in the last slide, those really large photographs, and then they had them framed out in rope. And this is Universal Furniture on the right. Yep. They always do an amazing job styling. I'm a huge fan. But just the color pops and the fun. It was fun to see all that.
Very cool. I think we have another great shot of another plaid.
That's Norwalk
here.
That's a great one because it's a combination of a updated plaid with a channeled boucle kind of, it was a real mix of the, the California comfort casual look with that updated plaid. Yeah. So the rules I found at Market were that there are no rules.
They're broken.
Yeah. I love the plaid. It gives like a very tailored sort of menswear vibe. I love that.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing here. That's the end of our slides. So after trends, what do Jessica and Melissa, specifically out of the ones that you guys have mentioned, what do you really see yourself implementing into your design?
Gosh, you go first.
I see, and I love this. It's still statement pieces. That signature piece in your room that you build around. I love that we're having more opportunities with that everywhere, whether it's like the light fixture I showed, that's actually a really huge global piece in your entryway. That'd be your, we have more variety for our statement pieces and they have more texture and options, I think. And I loved that furniture was actually getting a little smaller scale. In my opinion, that's what I saw. The days are gone. You have the ginormous pieces that you're placing. It's more about finely selected proportionately sized pieces, because we went through a phase there where like apparently everybody was ginormous. So it's nice to see that come down. It's easier to design with those pieces, I think.
Yeah, agreed. Those statement pieces, and I think I'm such a texture girl. I love texture. And so I would say, I mean, I would love to implement any of those trends into designs, but I love the hair on hide, or even John talked about the boucle and things like that. I love texture. There's just so much that you can do with it, and it just adds those extra layers to a space. And so I would love to be able to, incorporate just texture, more texture and different texture, trying to get people like out of their comfort zone. Cause sometimes they feel like, well, I don't, I'm not sure about that or anything. That's like, well, let me show you, let me help you out. That's why we're here. So
That's literally
the texture piece, I'm in heaven with that.
Yeah.
And the color, I loved seeing color.
And the color, yes. I think, there's a place for, I think people are still all about their, the white kitchens and the white, and yes, it's very clean. It can be very, very classic, very timeless, but I'm like, I need color. Like just, there's a way to go, to go about it, but you can infuse color into your designs and it will work. I think people just have to, again, come out of their comfort zone. But yes, I agree. The color is there. I love that. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely gives your space a little more.
Yes.
Absolutely.
More color.
So John, we're going to get into a little do's and don'ts. So from your lens, what are some best practices for designers, and what should we not be doing from a vendor perspective to kind of have our High Point experience be the best that it can be?
Well, I think, having done market a lot before we ever showed here, you have to remember it's literally over 10 million square feet. So you have to go into it knowing like you're not going to see it all, and that's okay. Like, I mean, you couldn't be here for weeks and not see it all because you just can't cover that much ground. And so I think that nothing wrong with the first time person who's never been before coming without a total agenda and just sort of roaming and seeing what you run into, because you'll discover all kinds of things you never knew existed. Once you've made that trip and you're ready, you kind of have a sense of the lay of the land. Like, I think you have to plan and be targeted with what you want to do, because like I said, you're not going to see it all. So figure out what are your priorities, what's most important to you. There are things that like sit testing furniture that you just can't do remotely. So while you're here, like literally sit your way through market on everything you can, just so you have a frame of reference when you're looking at specifying it for a project. When you get home, you can't sit on it. So I think that's important. Comfort, like when we used to come to market and go to all the parties, my wife, Catherine, and like all of the ladies that we would bring with us, like wear comfortable shoes during the day, throw your fancy shoes in your bag to go to parties at night, but like don't try to roll in here wearing some big heels or you'll die. I mean, as you walk.
People still do it. You still see, and I understand you can still look cute without, being in pain. I don't get it. Yeah.
The women that wear those heels have superpowers.
For sure.
I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I get it, because like you want to like look good. That's it's
I
part
get
of the
that,
job, right? But I mean, I just know that like from a guy's perspective, wearing like loafers, I still get blisters. Like I don't know how in the world you could ever wear some big high heel shoes.
Right.
Listen, a good white sneaker goes with almost everything. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think a little planning, a little comfort, and like don't stress about it. Like don't stress about trying to do everything and see everything, because you're not going to. And just have a good time. I mean, it's fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's work fun. So hit the parties. Plan some downtime. Plan plenty of time to talk to people and meet people and network, because that's half of what it's about. So yeah, that would be my little advice, I think.
Yeah.
And do a tour, like what John said about the first time.
Yeah.
If it's your first time to High Point, you can do a free tour with High Point Market, and there's many different tour guides that you can choose from. I'm one of them, but there are many other ones. But Mydoma has a tour, right?
We had a great tour. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
So,
everyone had a
worth it.
great time.
A great point. The tours are a great idea, especially for a first timer, because it's 10 million square feet, but it's also spread out in districts, and so it's just a very different scene than some other markets that are much more contained. So like if you have a tour guide who knows the lay of the land and can guide you, spend a day doing that, and then on Saturday, and then you kind of know a little bit about where you are for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and can kind of regroup and
Sure.
because if you don't plan that part of it, because it is really spread out, you'll spend half of your time walking unnecessarily trying to zigzag your way through. Whereas you can focus that a little bit, spend a day here, spend a day here, spend a day here, and accomplish a lot more with a lot less wear and tear to the feet on the way.
Yep, absolutely. Ladies, do's, don'ts.
I would say definitely download the app. Versus, I mean, I know they have at the information booths, like these maps that you can, and these booklets that you can, and those have their place too, and they're great. But for me, I downloaded the app, before I went to market this time. And then to John's point, really being, my first time, like I said, was last fall. I had no clue what I was doing. It's like, I wanted to see everything, knowing that I wasn't going to be able to see anything. And I did a tour, and that was hugely helpful. This time, I didn't do a tour, but I was much more intentional about, kind of where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, even though there were so many things I wanted to attend that overlapped. But it was like, okay, you're going to have to make a decision, because you can't, if you have three different events or educational panels that are going on, they're all at 11 o'clock. I mean, I can't be at three places at one time. So it's kind of like, okay, which one do you feel like, you're, all of them give value, but which one do you really want to hit? So for me, it was downloading the app and before going to market and kind of planning what I wanted to do, right? And looking at the different showrooms and kind of favoriting them or starring them, kind of figuring out where in those districts they are. So you kind of know what kind of shuttles to take and things. So rather than getting there and then trying to figure it all out, I feel like I was much more intentional about where I was going. And then definitely, I think we all agreed to the comfort point. Again, I still saw women, they looked cute as all get out, but I was like, girl, how are you wearing them stilettos? Like, I'm just like, you can throw on a comfy pair of sneakers and still have the cute fit and still rock it. So don't get it twisted. So I was like, you guys like rock stars. Like, I'm like, how do you do it? But definitely, yeah. So for me, the app was huge. Taking that time to network and to go see and meet new vendors that maybe you have not used before, you have not worked with, you don't have a relationship with, and go and introduce yourself and have that conversation. Find out who your rep is. Maybe you get to meet your rep in person. Maybe you've been emailing with them back and forth, and then you finally get to meet them in person and start cultivating that relationship. Because relationships are everything. And I think we can all agree on that, especially in this
everything.
So it's everything. And so, yeah, those would be, things, and take advantage of the free food and the free alcohol. So, I mean, from mimosas in the morning and to, margaritas and wine and cocktails to the evening and the parties. I mean, it's, take advantage of that. You can really do market fairly inexpensively if you just, you kind of plan it out right. So,
yeah. Love it. Jessica, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, we always say if you're paying for food at market, you don't know how to do market.
Exactly.
Because I get all my meals, drinks, and evenings. I mean, literally, it's not the cheapest trip. I totally agree with you. But once you get there, you are not paying for food and drink. You really aren't. I have a couple of tips that I've learned over the years. If you stay in any Airbnb, VRBO, hotel, whatever it is, in a 6-mile radius of market, the Go Anywhere shuttle will come and pick you up at any time for free. Well, within their hours, but it's a really wide range of hours. So if you're going to look for a place to stay, you're in the 6-mile radius, you can use the free transportation that is provided with Market from where you're staying, which is phenomenal. I see a question in the chat about staying in Greensboro. I always stay in Greensboro. I stay at the O. Henry, and many hotels have free transportation. So staying in Greensboro don't let it freak you out when you're first time and you're trying to figure out your logistics. Use the Travel Quest option on the High Point Market Authority website. They really will be able to tell you like if where you're staying has a free shuttle, and they'll help you coordinate your shuttle from the airport. So don't be afraid to use that service. It really is a valuable service. And they help you with car rental and everything. I use the app as well. I had a boot this last market because I broke some toes. So I really utilized all the transportation. And one of my favorite things is, and a lot of people don't know this, is there's a red line and there's a green line, and you'll see all those shuttle stops, but there's a QR code on the sign, and you just scan that with your phone and it'll tell you how soon the next shuttle is coming. So you can, you're never really just kind of wondering what you're going to do. It's very well timed. And then a lot of the showrooms have their own transportation now. So like when I was at Fazy, they just took to my next place because it just happened to work out because I just asked my rep. So to Melissa's point, when that is why they're scanning your badge. That's why you want to walk into these showrooms, because you want them to see your face and you want to start that relationship. They want to work with you. I learned that in the past, it was 20 to 30% designer heavy, and the rest was big brands or vendors coming shopping Market. And now it is 60% designers. And it has completely flipped. So they want your business. They want to meet you, utilize it. Whoever told you have to print off all of your information on a one sheet with your bank information and everything. No, you don't do any of that. Just take your business cards, probably should know your tax ID. And then the other thing we tell people coming is, as you're collecting all these business cards all day, stick them in the back of your lanyard. And at the end of the day, go through your lanyard that will tell you everywhere you went, because you should take a picture of the showroom you're walking into and then the items, because otherwise you're going to be like, where the heck is this purple chair? And everybody wants you to scan their QR code business card. Don't do it, because you're never going to remember who that is. You're not going to go, oh, that's right, I scanned Joe Smith's QR code. You just know you scanned somebody, and you'll never find them in their contacts. So get their hard copy. That's my advice.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
I always, whenever we take pictures like with people, just to remember who they are, always get their name tag. It's great little shortcut. You don't have to write anything down. It's in the picture with them.
Right.
Yes. Good one.
And I mean, returning to like where to stay, my personal recommendation, we usually stay in like Airbnbs or different homes around Market, but plan ahead. Start early. The good places go quickly. So hotels or Airbnbs, plan ahead. Do it soon.
Jess, have you already booked a Henry for next Market?
What?
Have you already booked a Henry for next Market? I mean, like you almost have to book like.
Actually, we book when we check out for the next Market. But I came early this last Market because I actually installed a new Airbnb in High Point, 5 miles from Market. And the guests checked, I finished installing on a Tuesday, guests checked in on Wednesday. And the people that stay there, after they were done with Market, they liked it so much, they went online to book it for fall, and it was already booked.
It's great.
And you do not want to be scrambling
early.
Yeah.
So, don't do it at the last minute, because you're not going to be.
Or you'll pay a lot.
Or you're going to have to pay like ridiculous amounts of money per night if you wait to the last minute. Yeah.
I've always thought
what Jessica said, don't be scared of Greensboro. I live in Greensboro, and this whole area, so like Greensboro, High Point, and even Winston-Salem, which is kind of the other city. High Point Market is such a big deal locally from an economic standpoint that when Market is happening, all 3 of those cities roll out the red carpet. So like hotel shuttles that is not hard to find if you're staying in Greensboro, and they'll drop you at the transportation station. You spend the day and they take you back at night. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I stayed in Greensboro this time too. I was in High Point last fall, but then I was in that High Point area, but I stayed in Greensboro and it was amazing. And we had the shuttle that came to the hotel and to the transportation terminal. So yeah, don't
Mm-hmm.
don't stress about staying in Greensboro because it was actually nice.
Yeah. And I mean, even from flying into like Raleigh or Charlotte, even those cities are so accommodating to, you know, this whole event. Like there's amazing transportation shuttles, you know, from there. Because I mean, flying into Greensboro is usually a little bit more expensive. So
Yeah.
those options are really great too.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, I think we got to all the questions that were in our chat and everything that we had kind of on the agenda. So if anybody has anything to add, I think we've covered all the goodies.
This was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This was so cool.
Of course. It's always good to do sort of a post-mortem kind of, you know, on events like these, you know. Do it
a
better next
5-point
time.
autopsy.
Yeah, that's right. And
Yes.
well, it's also nice that we spaced it a few days because I mean, market is fun and awesome, but it's a beast. I mean, like it takes you have like a market hangover for at least like, it takes me a week usually to
To recover.
So it's
the
nice
decompressing after.
That's right. Nice to have a debrief now that we like have some brain power back and some energy back and can actually like process what happened and talk about it. So
right.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. We do have a question that just came in.
Yeah.
Are there any other markets or conferences that anyone is going to this spring and summer?
I'm going to Dallas.
I was about to say I might be going to Dallas market, but I'm not quite sure yet, but maybe it's on the radar for sure.
Okay. Very good. Well, I hope to see you all at Fall Market and everyone who's in attendance here. Hopefully we see your faces. Make sure you introduce yourself, visit us. And thank you guys so much for being a part of this. And I'm sure we'll talk to all of you very soon.
Yes. Thanks for having us again. Bye, you guys. Enjoy.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye.